As the debate continues about making the sex registry public, children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison is urging caution. Sandy Williams explains.
In the wake of national outrage over sexual assault of 3 children, one of whom was murdered, children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison is setting the record straight. Jamaica's sex offenders registry is not off limits. According to Gordon Harrison, individuals and institutions with credible, justifiable reasons can indeed request access to the registry, especially when the safety of a child is at stake. This, as 2023 data paints a chilling picture. Most cases of child abuse are happening within educational institutions. It's why Mrs. Gordon Harrison is urging school administrators to take proactive steps and use the sex offenders registry as part of the vetting process.
And repeated today is that when you're recruiting prospective staff, contact the registry. Find out if John Brown, who has applied to work in your institution, is a registered sex offender, because if he is, that means that he's someone that you would exclude from exposing to people's children. So too for Mary Ellen. Find out if Mary Ellen is a convicted sex offender. And so that way we can ensure that we're having appropriate persons who are given direct access to some of our most vulnerable children, because after all,
As both children's advocate and national rapporteur on trafficking in persons, she says background checks can't stop at resumes. While she acknowledges that some institutions are stepping up, doing their due diligence and educating themselves, she warns that far more intervention is needed from both schools and state authorities.
Sometimes when we get the reports and our investigations department, for example, intervenes with the school, we learn that the teachers are very well intentioned, very much challenged and want to see a change in the behavior, but they're not sure how to navigate that process and how to ensure that the practices that they're, pursuing are compliant with how the children ought to be taught and how they ought to be corrected to gain the way. So public education is one, dialogue with school officials, the standard operating protocols that I mentioned today as well, whereby if something happens, there's a very clear understanding as to what happens next.
In the meantime, she believes that making the registry public would require careful consideration, especially since Jamaica has a strong culture of jungle justice.
Everybody should have access. I'm saying let us revisit and have very constructive and critical conversation, look at the data, look at the pattern of behavior of the past couple of years, and determine if we can give broader access, perhaps not just to, persons who are seeking to employ someone, but perhaps on a parish level. If the mayor of the parish is, for example, alerted that you now have sex offenders living in community X and community Y, then the citizens of that community or those communities can be engaged to say, all right, you need to be more vigilant because X, Y, Z. And I'm being this measured because I'm very aware that in Jamaica, we do have a very strong history of jungle justice.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.